Epiphany and I've had phantom pain. If you don't believe me, look over there. Today, let's talk about how to get rid of it. Phantom pain can feel like a taser blast, tingling, pins or needles, crushing, twisting. There's a whole buffet of phantom options, and they all seem to hurt enough that once you experience them, you quickly become very interested in how not to experience them anymore. I don't provide medical advice, but I would like to offer some food for thought. Different strategies that I don't hear other amputees talking about, but that have made a real difference for me personally. Has it occurred to you that the same nerves that run down to your amputated leg also run through your spine? I had an epiphany one day when I was sitting in a doctor's office and noticed something called a dermatome chart. You see, phantom pain can be weirdly specific. Instead of feeling like your foot hurts generally, it's more like someone is hammering in a nail 5 millimeters to the left of your fourth toe. The dermatome chart shows where various sensory nerves branch out from the vertebrae. The exact area where I was feeling most of my phantom pain perfectly correlated with the dermatome associated with my L5-S1 joint. I went to a back doctor and got some imaging. Sure enough, I had a disc bulge in that very joint. That bulge was putting pressure on the nerves running down to my amputated leg. When we started treating that disc bulge, my phantom pain improved. The other thing we discovered is that the curve of my spine was way off, to the point that it was putting pressure on my internal organs and possibly the nerves. Working with my doctor and an extremely zealous physical therapist, we'll call him Brutal Bob, we were eventually able to correct my arch, and I noticed a definite decrease in phantom pain. If I could go back in time, I would get my back looked at pre-amputation so I could start addressing any issues before phantom pain set in. I'd also tell a past me to get a checkup for my back after prolonged full-time wheelchair use. I would also get a physical therapist to check my posture to make sure I'm not doing anything to make matters worse. Our spines weren't designed to be in a sitting position all day, every day, and I've noticed a definite correlation between the times when I was a full-time wheelchair user and back problems and phantom pain. Addressing issues in my back has made a big difference in my phantom pain, but it didn't take it away 100%. Enter Epiphany number 2. Did you know that nerves have sheaths? Ideally, they glide within those sheaths as you move and bend, but what if those nerves become adhered to the sheath? I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. My degree is in accounting, not neurology. But the theory that my medical team told me is that they think years of me being immobile in a wheelchair probably resulted in a lot of nerve adhesions.
Where's Brutal Bob? His chair's empty.
Time for Brutal Bob to give an encore performance. This time my physical therapist did something called nerve flossing or nerve gliding. My therapist did some experimenting to feel which nerves seemed to be adhered and also to ascertain how flexible my different muscle groups were.
Things are gonna get intense.
Nerve flossing feels like a stretch that's gone too far, to the point that you're tearing something, which you kind of are.
Oof. You're tearing apart adhesions to free up the nerves.
It hurt a lot.
Well, that was fun.
Hence the importance of professional supervision and checking muscular flexibility.
Don't wait there.
So when you feel that ripping sensation, you're confident that it's the adhesion that's ripping and not your hamstring. From the first day I started nerve gliding, I felt a dramatic improvement in phantom pain. So we kept at it for a few weeks and I kept seeing improvement. My physical therapist would do the more aggressive nerve flossing since he knows what he's doing, and I do a more gentle version at home. I was seeing such a difference that I got a little carried away. Turns out that having a no pain, no gain mentality was the wrong attitude, because I overdid it one day and injured a nerve. It's taken a ridiculously long time to heal, and it was definitely my fault. We all have our own style of stupid. Mine is that I sometimes push too hard. The thing about this nerve injury is that it gets triggered with overuse. So if I use my leg too much, then all of a sudden I will get these episodic bursts of agony, which is not something I really need in my life. The good news is, in between these avoidable episodic bursts of agony, my phantom pain has been better. So as long as I don't make my leg mad and I stop soon enough, then life is okay. I guess this is my opportunity to learn how not to push myself too hard. Otherwise I get episodic bursts of agony. I'm a slow learner. Before my self-inflicted injury, I was extremely impressed with how dramatically my phantom pain improved. Even though I've injured my nerve, I would say my baseline of phantom pain has definitely improved. I think it's worth asking your doctor and physical therapist about nerve flossing, especially if you don't go overboard like I did. I experienced far greater relief after nerve gliding than I did after adding or increasing medications. I can't speak for everyone, but when I was on medications for nerve pain, it felt like my body would adapt and the pain would push through. I often wondered whether the medication was making a difference at all. I honestly don't know. The same goes with mirror therapy, which is why it's exciting to have a few options where I definitely saw results, and those results didn't come with medication side effects. Having an excellent physical therapist can make a world of difference, so special thanks to Brutal Bob. Here's another factor to consider. Not only can nerves adhere, but so can myofascia. Fascia is a connective tissue. It's happiest when it's gliding smoothly. Prolonged immobility can cause adhesions, which limit motion and hurt. I've been informed that I had an especially bad case, even relative to my medical history. So we worked on breaking up the adhesions. It's hard to pin down exactly how much this impacted my phantom limb because it overlapped with other treatments. But I definitely saw a decrease of both muscular and phantom pain during this period. Like nerve flossing, it was painful in the moment, but yielded long-term improvement. I'm being tortured. While you're there, it's worth asking them to check for knots in your muscles. I often get knots in my half calf. Oh. Thank you. Once they're released, I usually notice a decrease in both phantom pain and muscular pain. I also check my back for knots. My third epiphany is that constipation makes phantom pain worse. Technically, this should have been epiphany number 1 since it was my first discovery, but it's awkward opening a conversation with constipation. Right after amputation, anesthesia and medications can impact your intestines. Pun unashamedly intended. I noticed a correlation between constipation and spikes of phantom pain, so I asked for a stool softener, and life got better. It didn't take away the phantom pain, but it removed an aggravating factor, so I had fewer intense spikes of phantom pain. After the initial post-op recovery phase and eventually getting off medications, this became more a matter of eating a balanced diet with enough fiber rather than using stool softeners. Speaking of food, the standard American diet is frankly sad. A lot of common foods can increase inflammation, which can in turn affect phantom pain. I've been fairly health conscious my entire adult life, so I don't have a dramatic before and after to share with you. I was already eating healthy food, but I still found it helpful to talk with a nutritionist to make sure I was getting enough of the various nutrients my body needed in order to heal. Blood work showed that I was deficient in a few areas, some of which I hadn't heard of before. Now that I'm addressing those deficiencies, I've been noticing a general improvement in my health. It's a multi-purpose carrot. One last thing to consider is whether you have any other conditions that could affect your nerves, such as neuropathy from diabetes or conditions like complex regional pain syndrome. Not all conditions can be cured, but some can be managed or improved at the very least. I can't tell you exactly how every diagnosis affects phantom pain. Like everything else on this list, I'm just trying to give you ideas of things to talk with your doctor about. One of the hardest things about feeling intense pain is that you also feel helpless. Having some things to try can be empowering. I can't guarantee that every option will work for every person, but my understanding is that most of these ideas are relatively low risk if done under proper medical supervision, and don't overdo it. It took time, effort, and a lot of short-term pain to finally achieve long-term gains, but I can honestly say that these approaches have helped me, and I hope they'll help you too. If you want to learn more about phantom pain, I have some in-depth videos over here. And whatever you're going through, hang in there and have hope that there are better days ahead. Wish it was that easy.